have flowed down the river and snagged on the screen, but they will check the system. But even when this system is working perfectly, it only removes the visible debris. The discharge itself will still consist of sewage and stormwater. And this is what a discharge looks like, filmed by Andy Cummings this July.
During periods of heavy rain, this is what's happening, but a lot of the times they're hidden up rivers, so people don't see this raw sewage coming out onto the beach. This is absolutely disgusting. It smells vile.
Just 5 days after Andy recorded these pictures, the weather forecasters predicted more rain.
Lundy, Fastnet, Irish Sea. Southwest 4 or 5, becoming variable 3 or 4.
The weather will be rain or showers and the visibility good, becoming moderate, occasionally poor in that heavier rain.
This time we were on hand with our own cameras. Surely it wouldn't spill twice in less than a week.
Oh, it's going again. I mean, the smell is really overpowering.
It's primitive. It's absolutely what the Victorians did with sewage and before.
And it all flows down to Godrevy Beach. We filmed these pictures a few hours after the pipe discharged. When we first asked South West Water about this spill, it had no record of it ever occurring. But when we pointed out that we'd filmed it, the company rechecked its monitoring equipment and discovered that it had spilt after all, over a period of 8 hours. But even when the company knows about a spill, it's unlikely any bathers or lifeguards will ever get to hear about it.
If the Environment Agency or a beach manager wants to know whether the overflow is going off, they simply have to ask us, and we would tell them.
But isn't this all backwards? When you know that something is spilling, or is likely to spill, shouldn't you be alerting the Environment Agency or the RNLI or the council?
The way it works is the spills are designed at a frequency that will protect bathing water quality. In other words, the expectation is the operation of that overflow will not affect materially bathing water quality.
The Environment Agency says it doesn't need to know about this spill, or the 3 others like it during July.
If it's within consented limits and has no impact on the bathing water quality, then unless we have particular concerns, that would not necessarily be something that would come to our attention.
Spilling 4 times into a river that flows onto a Cornish beach in the height of summer is not ideal, surely.
Well, clearly, in more normal circumstances, had it been not one of the wettest Julys on record, it probably would not have spilled at all. So I think it's clear that when we get wetter summers, we have more frequent operation of storm overflows throughout the country and indeed throughout Europe.
This pipe spills 30 to 40 times a year, but it's all perfectly legal. Just like the 20,000 other CSOs in the country, it's granted consent to spill by the Environment Agency. Pipes directly on designated beaches are in theory restricted to 3 spills a year. But pipes like this, on rivers upstream from the sea, are given more leeway.
The alternative is to have sewage backing up into people's homes and up the street. If there's pressure on the system and the system is going to blow, where would you like it? But it's a matter for us of balancing risks to public health against risk to the environment and trying to find a balance between those two things. It's not a black or white situation.
So just how often are CSOs spilling across the UK? We asked all 12 of the UK's water companies, but only 5 of the 12 shared some limited spill information with us. The responses also suggest that only about 25% of CSOs in the UK are actually monitored. So if the water companies don't know about every spill, we don't know. Instead, we put our trust in environment agencies around the UK to detect any problems for us. They test the levels of bacteria in bathing water every week during the summer months, more if there are any worries about the water. Using European standards, beaches are then rated as poor, good or excellent, with over 90% of beaches around the UK meeting the legal minimum or good standard. But when it comes to the impact of CSOs, this system has its critics.
The testing regime that the Environment Agency has for bathing waters was never designed to test for the impact of combined sewer overflows. They're unrelated. There is no, at the moment, testing regime in place to monitor on a systematic basis for discharge from these pipes.
So we decided to put the test itself to the test. Remember the spill we filmed on the 16th of July? It so happened the Environment Agency tested the water on Godrevy Beach just as the pipe discharged. It got an excellent rating, as it has done for years. But we got different results when we sampled the next day with Plymouth Marine Laboratory. Our test produced a good rating, the legal minimum. Statistically, the odds of catching an illness had jumped overnight. And if you were splashing about in the stream, it's probably best not to think about the odds. Bacterial levels there were almost 5 times the legal limit measured against current standards.
It wouldn't be concerning, for instance, if you took a sample from a sewage treatment works.
No, but this is from a stream on a beach.
Exactly, and a level that high would be a concern. Well, it's certainly a concern to the Environment Agency. They rate it as pollution.
This test cannot prove this is down to the CSO. South West Water told us it's due to runoff from streets and farmland.
5 times above the European limit. I mean, what does that say about the testing regime?
In streams, you will often find a higher level of microbial contamination.
There's children paddling in these streams. Surely these are the danger areas.
This is why we advise local authorities to advise people to stay out of the stream for 48 hours after a rainfall event. And in fact, if you look on, I think it is Cornwall's website, you'll find that they say to people, keep out of
But how
the
many
stream.
people are going to check a website before they go to the beach?
Well, there are usually notices next to the stream saying keep out, but a lot of people don't